JoyNews. Let's get on to a very interesting conversation, because if you're having sex for the first time, you and your partner may not have an orgasm, and that could be normal for both of you. This may, however, change as you figure out that orgasm is actually the peak of sex. But what is really the big deal about orgasm? Well, tomorrow the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair would hold a marriage seminar which will tackle courtship, marriage and sex. Ahead of this, we've been joined in the studio by one of the speakers for the event, CEO of Resolve Medical Services, Dr. Paddy Aite, and he'll be speaking on the theme, Orgasm, what's the big deal? Good afternoon to you,
Hello,
Doc. Very refreshing to have you here.
Thank you.
And I would like to have a sneak peek of what's going to happen tomorrow. So let me first put that question to you. What's the big deal about orgasm?
It is a big deal. The objective is that if you're having sex, it's what usually happens at the end of it. In other words,
that matters.
You've gotten excitement, you've built to a particular peak, and when you get to the peak, there's a release.
Okay.
If somebody has gone through that repeatedly without getting to the point of release, it is like you keep getting an appetizer, and that kind of stuff, but you never really get the.
So you are promised canine, you never get
you never
there.
really get there.
Okay.
I was thinking about it today. So assuming that you like maybe fufu and groundnut soup,
okay,
and then they keep passing in front of your nose, and you're smelling it, and you're smelling it,
and you never get to.
But you never get to really taste it.
It's so painful.
So it is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a bit easier for men. It is once you get to the end, you've gotten to the end. But some ladies tend to have a bit of a challenge to get to that particular point. Okay. And we'd like to discuss those issues in tomorrow's program. Hopefully we'll be able to cover quite a bit of ground in a time that we are given.
Okay, so when we talk about orgasm, a lot of the time men are blamed for one thing, and people describe men as selfish because a lot of the time they are concentrating more on themselves, and so like you said, it's easy for them to get there because they are concentrating more on themselves. So it happens that they get there quicker than the lady, and once they get there, I go
well, it does take two. And each are supposed to help each other to achieve the stated objective.
Okay.
And it's a destination, but the journey too must be enjoyed along the way.
Yeah.
But just that couples are different, or men and women are different, and there are things that excite people, and there are things that something that would excite one person doesn't necessarily excite the other person.
Right.
It's the responsibility of each party to find out what excites the other party and figure out how best to get it to work.
Okay.
Men are moved by certain kinds of things, and they move at a particular pace.
Okay.
Women are moved by different set of things, and they move at a different pace. Each party is supposed to learn what works for the other party, and then try and manage that with how your pace is.
Okay.
So there's an example that I typically give as to your speed as the man's speed and the woman's speed. And if you know that you are a lot faster than her, go and put her closer to the destination, so that when the two of you start with your speed and her speed, we'll all get to capture at the same time.
Middle.
Yes, otherwise we'll end up being you've gotten to Cape Coast and she's still on the motorway.
That's very painful sometimes. But you realize that there are some women. I'm concentrating on women because I'm a woman and I know how it feels. I can't talk for the men, but I also know that if the men don't get there, they'll tell you all kinds of stories that I'm having pains here, I'm having what.
Different colors.
I don't know how true that is, but I know that there are women who are able to get there quicker than others.
Yes.
The women who get there quicker than others. Is it, I mean, those who are not able to get there quicker, is it that they are sick, or is it bad to have that kind of system? I mean, what creates those kind of things that some women get orgasm earlier than other people?
Fat, slim, we are different.
Right.
Even if you take your left arm and your right arm, different sizes. Left breast, right breast, different sizes.
Okay.
The men, left testicle, right testicle, different heights on the ground.
Sure.
We differ.
Okay.
Even within the body we differ, let alone within between each other.
Okay.
Some women can achieve orgasm just by doing, should I say, relatively little.
Okay.
Others, you need to do a lot more. But if you know what you are doing, you can achieve that objective in a very, very short time.
Okay.
Because you know, oh, this lady, I need to do this, and you get the outcome that you want. If you don't know what you are doing, you could And once again, I think when we use food examples, maybe would get it right.
Yeah.
You like Gary and beans.
Okay.
And if they give you Gary and beans, you're going to be delighted, and all your thanks and gratitude is going to come to your wife. But she insists on serving you fried rice with macaroni and all kinds of trimmings. That doesn't appeal to you at all. Okay. She fries bananas and things. It doesn't work for you. As long as you're on the diet of the fried rice and fried bananas, you're not going to get that satisfaction. Okay. But once we give you your Gary and beans, you are going to get there. However, we must also note that a one-way diet too doesn't work. So if you keep giving Gary and beans, the effect too is lost. Okay. It's a combination of things. You just need to find out what really works for the person. And once you can find out what works for the person, satisfaction should be possible to be achieved. Okay, so we've established the fact that, for the first time, if it's the first time for both of you, you're likely to miss the point, both of you, because you may not know where to hit and where to touch. But beyond that, how do, the two understand what makes, and you made the point clear that you should know the speed at which both of you operate. So you should be able to work on the one who's slower so that both of you can get to Cape Coast at the same time. Yes. So how do you do that? You have to study. First of all, you have to study the person. How do you study? Is it that you always have to be doing experiments, or how do you do the study? You are exploring each other. Okay. Now, first of all, it is possible that on the first time an orgasm will be achieved. It is very, very possible. Sure. It's not an impossible thing at all. Right. But subsequently, assuming that even subsequently, you are still going to have to explore to find out what are the other things that pleases the person. Okay. And what works better, what works faster, what doesn't give you the kind of effect, what gives a poor response, what gives you a quick response, what brings satisfaction quicker, what delays things. You understand? And that is not talking about mindset, right environment, right temperature, all that kind of stuff. And even how long you started the whole process. Because you must remember, sex is a mental thing. And if the mental framework is not right, all the other things that follow are going to be, challenging and difficult. So, but the joy is in the exploration. We are looking, we are exploring, we are trying to find out what works, and we are investigating. And once you discover what works, and you find a variety of things that work, you would actually be able to control the duration and the time that it will take to achieve an orgasm. If you find the right thing that works, you can achieve. Most women will be able to orgasm in a very short time if the right thing is done for her. Okay, what are some of the right things that is? If you come to the seminar, we'll talk about those things. Who knows who's underage children are listening right now? But well, there are women who, there are some women who get, I don't know how to put it because you say some kids are watching, but some women get wet easily, and others don't really get too wet. Others too, yeah. Does this have a relation to how quick that woman gets orgasm? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. The lubrication you get is a reflection to an extent. Okay. Maybe not absolutely, but to an extent of the fact that you have been aroused. Okay. Because the lubrication usually comes after arousal. And if you are very aroused, you may get very lubricated. Okay. But you can be very aroused, and if something is done to you that's a turn off, that's it. Okay. It doesn't matter how close you were to the point. Once it's a turn off, everything just goes away and you forget about how aroused you were. You could also be very well aroused, and then the slightest thing in the right direction will just trigger off the right kind of response. Okay. So wetness is not a guarantee of the fact that because you are wet, you are going to necessarily get there. No. Somebody can start off from not being very wet, but can be brought very quickly to the point of arousal and to an orgasm in due course. So. There's some women and there's some men also who are not sex people. They don't really they're not sex people. They don't really like sex, but you have to do it because it's part of the marriage or it's part of the relationship. But then if you have such a partner, if for instance you have a lady who doesn't really like sex but probably likes the romance, or is a romance type, not really the sex, how do you get her to get orgasm? Because if she's not a sex type, sometimes it becomes her time, it becomes prolonged for her to get to the orgasm. How do you get her there? Because she's not a sex person. That once again is not exactly correct. Okay. Every I mean, what do you mean by there are some people who have got medical conditions that makes it difficult for them to, let's say, enjoy sex.
Okay.
And those people, let's put those people aside.
Aside, okay.
But for almost everybody else, naturally, the challenge is I'll give another example. If you're going to have sex and you know you're not going to achieve an orgasm, why in heaven's name will you be calling the person that let's go to bed?
Okay.
If you're not going to get satisfaction, and I'm not saying not only orgasm, but satisfaction. If you like, the holding, the hugging, the kissing, and the touching, and he's just going to go straight and just penetrate and then have penetrative intercourse, what is there to look forward to?
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
So why would you be looking forward and eager to have it? Okay. But if he's going to do what you want,
but we're married, we have to.
You asked me a question
to get babies.
You asked me a question about the eagerness of the thing.
Okay.
And if you are not going to get satisfaction in the end, you would not be, as you call, the sex type. If, on the other hand, you know you're going to get satisfaction, you are the one who will be calling for it because you're like, it has been a little while. I need to feel the way I used to feel the last time that we had whatever it is.
Definitely.
You understand? So it's a matter of the person knowing what they are doing, knowing what they need, trying to meet the particular needs that they may have, and then working towards it to try and achieve that particular target. Okay. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to do. It's a work in progress for everybody. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can learn new things. There are people who have been married for a very, very long time who have still not achieved certain amount of satisfaction, and their spouses don't even know.
Okay.
Those kind of people should drag their husband along and make sure that he's giving him elbow in the room to make sure that he's listening very, very carefully. Okay. There's something I've asked them to do. If they're able to do it, we can be able to address your questions very nicely and quietly without too much attention being drawn to you, the person. Adam, I hope you have heard.
Okay, so I'm told I could go on, but I'm told this is just a teaser of what will happen tomorrow. So if you want to hear more, you just have to be heading your way to the Accra International Conference Center where this whole seminar is going to happen, and you'll get some tidbits to fix your marriage. But of course, talking about marriage, this whole issue is one big issue that a lot of marriages are facing. That I don't get satisfied by my wife, so I want to get satisfaction outside. I don't get satisfied by my husband. There's this guy who makes me feel so good, so I want to leave my husband and go following that guy. So it's creating a lot of confusion in our marriages. How do we try to get this? And you see, there's some women or some men who also feel like shy or something to talk about some of these things. If the man and the woman you do it for the first time or second time and it doesn't happen, you don't get to kaswa, like we're saying. Some people feel ashamed or feel shy and think that, okay, the man may think I'm a spoiled brat, so I can't tell the man that, well, you didn't do it well, I didn't enjoy it, so next time do it this way or do it that way. How do we get all of these in place so that we can try to fix some marriages? Because I know it's a big deal.
The biggest problems in marriage are sex, communication, money.
Okay. And
the related things around it. And this one, it's a combination of the actual sex act and the ability to communicate that this is where I'm facing a challenge and I need your help to try and solve that thing.
Okay.
I think, and a lot of this the onus lies on the man to be able to communicate what his challenge is, if he is the one who is not getting satisfaction, or B, to inquire from the woman if everything was okay. But not only to ask her, but to look at her and see, albeit that she's not pretending, whether she's enjoying it or she is not enjoying it.
Right.
And then trying to find a way to address whatever her thing is.
Sure.
At the beginning, we both don't know each other.
Yeah.
And that's the opportunity you need to do to explore. Yeah. Does she like this? If I touch it, does she like it? If I do this, does she like it? If I do this, does she like it?
Where's her weak point?
Where's her weak point?
That place.
When I did this in the morning, how did she respond in the evening?
Yeah, sure.
They say a woman needs 10 meaningful touches a day.
Okay.
So if you're not going to do those 10 meaningful touches in the morning, then by evening the response rate is going to be a little bit affected. So there are things that we need to do to explore to try and find out where exactly the challenge is. And if we are in it for the right purpose, it means I'm doing my best to satisfy you.
So you've got
at that same period, you are doing your best to satisfy me. Okay. As long as we are working together and all working together to that objective,
right,
then all of us are going to be enjoy ourselves and be pleasured to the point where we shall achieve the appropriate satisfaction.
How about women who don't get satisfaction quicker, and it means that the man has to always probably be on some drugs
he doesn't
to be able to. What does he have to do?
Just leave her at wager barrier. Get her to wager barrier. It's very easy.
Okay.
You know what works for her. Get her to wager barrier. Then you start from Tema.
Because
you will get to Kaswa, the two of you at the same time. But if you decide that you go and put her at Akram
before you,
and you are starting from Tema, before she gets to Fiesta Royale, you've reached Kaswa.
It doesn't work.
So it's not a problem. That is just doing what is right for her.
Okay.
And when we talk about, for example, premature ejaculation, we are talking about how long does it take for the woman to be satisfied before you ejaculate.
Sure.
And every woman differs in the duration. But you can actually make a difference in how quickly she gets to that point, so that you can get to your point, quickly.
Okay.
So it's a matter of managing what she wants and ensuring that you give her what she wants, and there's not going to be too much of a problem afterwards. So the women who take a long time, a lot of times we need to just do a few things around it, and we shall be able to make it work.
Okay, and so this is it's happening at the Beauty and Bridal Fair, and you have no reason not to be part of this conversation. It's going to be happening tomorrow, and those are the people who are going to be leading the seminar. We have Mrs. Teresa Riafia Sante. She's going to be talking about childbirth and familiarity, which can kill the passion in our marriage. And then Dr. Yao Safo is also going to be talking about preparing for a satisfying sexual experience. Our own Dr. Paddy is going to be talking about orgasm. What's the big deal? And PG Sebastian will be talking about, could your partner be having an affair? Yes, if you don't take her to Kaswa, she may be having an affair. And of course, it's been a very interesting conversation. You have no reason to miss the seminar tomorrow. It's happening at the Accra International Conference Center. Please be there, because I'm going to be there, because I want to know those things that you have to do to make it work. And for the men, what I pick is that a woman needs 10 meaningful touches a day. If you don't give her those 10 meaningful touches, don't expect any results in the evening. We'll take a break. We'll be back on the pulse.